Okay, let's get started. Hello again. My name is Michael Schachter. I'm a Senior Director of Product Marketing here at Allot, and I'm very excited to be hosting today's Allot Secure webinar, along with several of my colleagues, Eduardo Holgado and Anje Rosinger, who are Cybersecurity Directors of Product Management for Allot, and Vikram Singh, who's the Cybersecurity Marketing Director at Allot in the North American market. So with their help, we're going to be discussing the unique challenges that SMBs face when it comes to cybersecurity, and the even more unique opportunity that this presents for you, the service providers, to help solve their cybersecurity challenges from your central place within the broadband network. And you have this chance now to become kind of the security champion for your customers while differentiating your brand and increasing loyalty and revenues. So I think this will be a very interesting subject for you. These are the colleagues who are participating, and what I'd like to do is kind of lay out the agenda for today. And the question is, why are we talking about SMB security? Why do we keep coming back to this topic? And so the answer, and this is how we're breaking down the webinar today, is we're listening to what the security agencies are saying. We hear a lot of talk around the world about cyber threats for SMBs. We hear what you're saying, what the CSPs and ISPs are saying about their SMB customers, and some of our own CSP customers who have solutions in place. We're also listening to SMBs. We do worldwide surveys to understand what they're looking for in security. And a spoiler alert, we believe that we've got a great solution that will bridge these two worlds together. Before we dive into the data, a couple of housekeeping notes. First of all, the webinar is being recorded, so you can come back and listen to it on our website, and we will send you a link. It'll be available on demand, and you can share it with colleagues who might not have had a chance to be on the webinar today. Also, we're very happy to get questions from you, and we will hopefully have time at the end for a Q&A session. But if we don't, we'll get back to you offline. So please use the Zoom Q&A window to enter your questions, and we'll try to address them. As part of this webinar registration package, as we wrote, we will be sending you an analyst paper written by Tag Cyber, a North American cybersecurity analyst company, giving their perspective on the CSP opportunity for cyber securing your SMB and also your consumer customers as well. Like I said, feel free to ask questions in the Q&A window. During the course of the webinar, there will be a couple of poll questions that I'm going to ask. And I'll actually start now with a quick question that helps us understand who you are. And the first question we'd like to ask is, where do you work? Are you a fixed carrier, a mobile carrier, perhaps converged, both fixed and mobile? Maybe you're an enterprise that sells into the CSP marketplace, which is fine. We're happy to help you with solutions there as well. And maybe you're something else altogether that we didn't manage to guess ahead of time. But if you could fill that out, it'll help us understand who we're talking to. That will be great. Give it just another minute, and let's take a look at the results. Okay, so pretty even distribution between fixed, mobile, and converged, and a little bit more enterprises that sell to CSPs, and some others, not sure who that is, but that's okay. So thank you for that. And one more quick question, and then we will get into the heart of the matter. Given where you work, would you define your work as engineering? Let's launch that. Why isn't that launching? Let's go back and launch that. So we will skip that. Okay, so let's move on with the webinar. I said that we listen to the cybersecurity agencies, and it's a pretty common sound that we're hearing around the world. Here's two examples. One from the European Union, where they say that practically a third have experienced at least one cybercrime incident, and we've seen higher numbers even. There's all kinds of hacking, and they do see that SMEs are very concerned and are frequently targeted. The FBI over in the US, even more worrisome from the SMB perspective. Hackers are increasingly targeting small and medium-sized businesses, and losses are mounting and reaching astronomical figures, $7 billion in losses, and it's up 64% from the previous year. And I'm sure this is the same kind of information one would find anywhere else in the world for reasons that we'll touch upon as we move on with the presentation. We also listen to you guys, the CSPs or ISPs, the operators who are providing broadband to their SMB customers. Here's an example from Verizon in the US. They publish a yearly data breach investigation report, and this year they called out the fact that 94% of breaches occurred at small and mid-sized businesses. So they are at a high risk for all kinds of intrusions, social engineering, basic web application attacks, and so on. And just this past month in LinkedIn, they posted an announcement about a new cybersecurity defense option for their business customers. So it's clearly a topic that's front of mind for them as well. We also, as I said, listen to the market. So we survey SMBs around the world. We use a company called Coleman Parks from the UK. These are anonymous surveys, so people don't know that it's a lot asking the questions, and we get a lot of interesting information there. And we do follow-up surveys to look at trends over time. And there too, the trends are pretty straightforward. SMBs are very concerned, and we'll look at some of the data going forward. We also listen to our own SMB customers where we have security solutions in place. So here's an example from Telefonica, and we'll touch on them again. They implemented an ALOT solution for their SMB customers, and it was because they found that those are the preferred targets for cyber criminals, and they attributed it to the lower level of protection that's typical in an SMB environment, and we'll look at that again in more detail. We also do a cyber threat report once or twice a year, similar to what you saw on the Verizon slide, where we look at data from the customers, the CSPs around the world, where we are helping them protect their customers. And the main takeaway here, it's a sort of a sneak preview, and we'll be coming out with a CTR report later in the year, but in the first half of 2023, we saw a big jump, for example, at SMBs in command and control bot activity, more than doubling from last year to the first half of this year. And command and control can be the mechanism or the vector for all kinds of bot-based attacks. It can be, infiltrating banking Trojans onto your systems, cryptojacking, taking over your CPU to mine cryptocurrency, Trojans that are dropped into your system, all kinds of Windows and browsing and spyware attacks. So there's a lot of danger in the CNCs, and we're seeing a growth in that specifically in the SMB area. So something to keep your eyes on. There was a report at the end of last year, also a survey done in North America, and half of the SMB respondents said that they hadn't taken concrete steps toward implementing data security measures. And this is a theme that's going to, kind of recur in this webinar. SMBs are at risk. They are being targeted. They know they should be doing something, but for all kinds of reasons, they're not. And that's where you guys come in. I'm going to share with you an interview that we did with Victor Deutsch. This was a couple of years ago when Telefonica was launching that cybersecurity project. So it's a couple of quick questions and answers here about that project, and I think you'll find it quite instructive.
Victor, what were the challenges that you were facing in the SMB market, and why did Telefonica decide to launch a security service for SMBs?
Every year, Telefonica Empresas develops a survey over IT needs on the SMB segment. So in the last surveys, we realized that 1 of 5 SMB companies in Spain had a cybersecurity incident. So the market was there, and they had the need to resolve the problem, but really they do not have an affordable solution. So our approach was to develop, in an industrialized way, a solution that can be delivered from the network in order to mitigate these threats, and but this having in an affordable way.
Okay, so 1 in 5 are attacked. There is a market need, but it has to be affordable. It has to be turned into some kind of industrial network-based solution in order to be affordable. So that was Victor a few years ago.
Victor, what were the
Sorry. And now we did a follow-up interview with him. He's no longer working there. He's a security consultant. And the main points that he came back to were as follows. In general, SMEs are attacked like anybody else, right? But the effects that they suffer are much greater because they don't have the ability to protect themselves. And hackers are therefore focusing on them because it's easy to attack them. There's many targets. And so all you need to do is get a little bit of revenue from each of these targets, or a little bit of crypto mining, CPU, whatever, and spread over a huge landscape. It becomes a very profitable endeavor. And it can have a devastating effect on SMEs as opposed to a big enterprise, which can maybe, handle the fallout. SMEs can be put out of business, by one attack. So there's a market need out there for sure. As I said, we do a lot of ongoing surveys of the SMBs, of consumers, of CSPs and ISPs as well. And let's take a look at some of the key findings. So first of all, we asked, what are the things that you, the SMB, are most worried about? And the answer, the leading answer, was threats from laptops and mobile devices that connect remotely. And this is kind of a new and growing phenomenon after Corona. It's a problem and people are aware of it, but they don't know what to do, as we'll see. Let me ask you a poll question before we see what the people out there said in the survey. And here it is. Here's the next question. Hopefully this one will launch successfully. And we're having a problem with the polls. Never mind, skip the polls. What do you think they thought was the biggest barrier that prevented them from securing themselves better? And we gave them a lot of things to choose from, but the highest thing was the cost of technology and services, right? And that goes back to what we heard from Victor. It has to be affordable. There are also too many things out there to choose from. In general, it's not the expertise of an SMB, but cost was a major problem for them. We then asked them, what do you think, who should be protecting you? Should you be protecting you? Should the device manufacturer be protecting you? Should the service provider be protecting you? And we had a very strong answer that the CSP should be providing secure traffic. And we'll get back to this again, but the analogy we like to draw is just like you expect the water company to give you clean water, there's a growing expectation that the broadband provider will give you clean internet, clean online access. So that's also very instructive. And then we said, okay, so you believe the CSP should be, protecting you. Would you change? Is that a reason to switch service providers? And there was a very strong answer there that, if you add very important and very probable and yes probable, nearly 80% said, yeah, if a service provider was going to give me better security, I would strongly consider switching. So that means for you guys, it's a threat, and it's also an opportunity. You can have a better sticky relationship with your customers if you give them security, and you can attract new customers if you offer security, and you run the risk of losing customers if somebody else is doing it. And finally, okay, affordable, what does that mean, and how does the math work out? So we asked, a range of questions about what people would be willing to pay, and SMBs on average around the world, at least a third of them said, in the neighborhood of $6-7 a month, which is obviously much less than they would be paying for a managed service from a big, security company, or for a firewall on premises and so on. But this is a network-based solution, and we'll hear more about that. $7 a month multiplied by a large percentage of your multiple SMB customers, the numbers add up. So there's an opportunity here. So the key takeaways from all that we heard from the agencies, from the service providers, from the marketplace, from our own customers are as follows. SMBs are aware that there's a cyberstorm out there and that they're vulnerable. They don't know what to do. They're not experts. They can't afford expertise. They can't afford expensive solutions. They're a little bit stuck. They'd like you guys to step up with a solution that they can afford, and they increasingly expect it to come from you because you are providing the connectivity. They also are willing to pay for it. Again, the math, if you multiply it out, it can be a lot of money. So what this is all saying is that there's an opportunity. And we're going to talk a little bit more about the opportunity. And to give us kind of a North American perspective, I'm going to ask Vikram a couple of questions about what he has seen at customer visits in the US, talking to CSPs and ISPs about what they understand their SMB customers to be worried about. So the first question, Vikram, is what are those key SMB cyber risk challenges that you hear about in North America?
So broadly speaking, all consumer challenges somehow overlap to SMBs as well, but there are a few challenges which are pretty unique to SMBs. First one, we see a very rising trend, especially in North America, is the rise of ransomware. One of the main reasons, as you also pointed out, is that most of the net worth of these small SMBs is tied in their livelihood, is completely in their business, and they are not experts in managing their own IT network. So that's why they become a prime target for ransomware, where malicious agents attack their devices and hold back their business for some payment. And to make matter worse, the employees these SMBs have, they're not cyber aware or trained like the typical enterprise employees who have some form of training. So this creates a perfect storm for the SMBs where they are really exposed to these malicious threats over the internet.
Okay. So the challenges are pretty clear. And again, the question, of course, is what's keeping the SMBs from deploying security? We heard a little bit about that. What do you hear in your market?
So it's mostly the what and how. What I mean by that is, number one, unlike enterprises, we know SMBs do not have dedicated resources just managing their IT systems. Most SMBs are just lean and trying to run their business. So they don't have the typical resources of a companies would have to protect that. And the other challenge they face is SMBs, even though they're aware they need cyber protection, they rely on their telco partners or big box stores who sometimes are not as well versed in recommending the right solution because they're primarily reselling it. So there's a need for a solution which just works out of the box, which in most markets has not been available as of yet. These are some of the main challenges I would highlight.
Okay, so you said they, among other places, are turning to their CSPs. So we know that some of the North American CSPs are kind of cutting edge when it comes to many technologies and hopefully also security. What do you hear? What do you see that some of them are doing to kind of confront this challenge, help their customers, and is there ROI for the CSPs in this area?
Indeed. So one thing what leading CSPs are doing is they're moving towards network native security. These are security, as you talked about, just like getting clean water, you get clean internet. You don't have to manage different applications. You don't have to constantly stay on top and managing different security apps or different, whether it's IoT devices or cameras or phone or whatnot, everything is covered. So all leading CSP providers are moving towards network-based security. At the same time, there's a high ROI for them because this clearly distinguished their network, that their network is a secure network for SMBs. There is also a very strong ARPU uplift that has been seen. You shared some numbers. I'm seeing some numbers on the ballpark for about $10, and SMBs are more than happy to pay that dollar amount, specifically in North America, for all the benefits that they get with a service like network native security, which is zero touch. They don't have to manage. It just works and they're protected. So that is where CSPs are seeing very strong ROI.
Okay, thanks for that North American perspective. We'll now shift to the Allot solutions, which we believe to be a strong win-win. As you can see from what we've been saying, the SMBs are in trouble. The CSPs are the pipe. If they can make the pipe secure for the SMBs. They've solved the problem for which there is a market need, and as we've seen, a willingness to spend, and the math turns that into big numbers. So I'm going to turn this over now to Eduardo and Anche, who are our directors of product management, to talk us through what this means and what Allot can help you offer to your end users. Eduardo, over to you, and you'll tell me, let me know when to advance the slides.
Yes, I will. Hi, everyone, and thanks for joining us today. Yes, let's talk about Allot Secure and how it's enabling both the CSP and the SMB to have a win-win situation. On one side, you have the CSP that is providing a new revenue opportunity for them. Is reducing churn for their subscribers. It's allowing them to offer a very relevant and contemporary service as we heard before. When we look at the SMB, it's critical for them that this is something that doesn't require any configuration, so it's totally zero touch. It's also quite important, affordable for any business. Okay, and essentially it's built for them to address this pain point of protecting their business from the internet threats. Okay, and this is something we are going to make happen through this platform that we call Allot Secure Management that you see on the middle of the screen. Now, Allot Secure Management is all about providing network native security for SMBs and also, by the way, for consumers. It's built for the mass market. And this platform provides unification from a configuration perspective, from a reporting perspective, for both the ISP and also the subscriber, which can be the SMB or the consumer. Now, this unification for configuration and reporting is provided for the product modules that are selected by the operator, okay? And these modules you see at the bottom. So you have a home secure, business secure, IoT secure, network secure, DNS secure. We will talk about them later in more detail. And then for those situations where the operator also wants to address employees that from or even connecting from a coffee shop, we have the endpoint secure solution that can go on top as an add-on to further extend that security wherever the user goes. Next, please. Okay, and now this is a very, of course, high-level representation of what CSP network can look like. So here we are representing a converged network with radio access, with router access. But the main point is that it's all about making it zero touch. That's number one, okay, to make it successful. And number two, user-centric, okay? So it's not about devices, it's not about products, it's about the user. Okay, one click, please. We are going to start with network secure. Network secure is our, I would say, more well-known solution. Is deployed all over the world. Many operators are using it and offering it to their subscribers worldwide. The solution is sitting on the network, okay, meaning that it's totally zero touch. And it's suitable for the mobile network, okay? So for those smartphones connecting through the 4G, 5G network, and also for the fixed network, and that includes FWA, okay? So essentially, you are protecting that office that is connecting to the internet from the network without deploying anything on-premise. Then we have business secure. Business secure goes a step beyond in terms of capabilities. It does require to install, to deploy an agent on the router. This is a lightweight agent that is deployed remotely. Okay, so still is zero touch, so there is nothing for the subscriber to do. But this agent is something that has to be deployed, and once that's done, that is giving us an edge in terms of what we can do from a protection and visibility perspective. Okay, so this agent is going to see internal network communication, allowing the business owner to identify internal attacks, like for example, brute force attacks, identifying weak passwords in the network, identifying, for example, what devices are not using an antivirus engine. And on top of that, it's also going to protect the router itself. Okay. Next, please. Okay, and as a CSP can deploy just network secure, can deploy just business secure, can deploy both of them, as we are seeing here. For example, network secure for the mobile network, business secure for the fixed. It can even be that even for the fixed or FWA, we have a combination of both business secure and network secure. So they can essentially decide. But the bottom line is that this unification is the differentiator, this unification for both configuration and reporting, because for the SMB owner, I don't have to know about network secure or business secure. All I need to know my what I need to happen for each user, okay? And that's it. And then this configuration, this policy is going to be automatically pushed by a lot secure to all of the modules. Next, please. Okay, and here we are going to try and represent the experience of the SMB owner. The SMB owner is going to have an app normally, okay? Although every operator is different. Some operators decide to offer a web interface, a web browser interface. Others will use an app. In any case, what we are providing is a REST API interface that will allow them to integrate with the solution very easily. So they can do this, for example, if they already have a customer care app, an existing app that their subscribers are using, they can add the security and content filtering functionalities on top quite easily. They can create a separate app, okay, if they wanted to. They can even use the out-of-the-box app, the out-of-the-box interface if needed, okay? Those are all of the different options. But in any case, the concept is quite simple. So as the SMB owner, I am going to use this interface to say, for example, for my salespeople, I want to turn security on. Okay, so normally you will have security on for everyone. And in fact, this is done normally by default by the operator. This is zero touch. The moment you sign into the service, security is on. That's it. So if all you want is security, you forget about it. But in this particular case, this SMB owner wants to also block gambling for these sales guys, right? Because they don't stop gambling, and that's not good for the business. So they are going to block that as well. However, for Matt from finance, here, whilst the salespeople might need social networks sometimes to sell and do their job, Matt from finance is just wasting his time with this, and he's going to block social networks as well. So this configuration is what the SMB owner is going to define. And then, next please. What a lot secure is going to do is going to automatically process those policies, and it's going to push them to the different solution that in turn are going to enforce them for the devices. Like, for example, if I have Matt going to the office, it's going to be business secure, knowing that Matt's phone connected to the network and that he's protected by security. He shouldn't be visiting any social networks. He shouldn't be doing any gambling. When Matt goes and writes on a 4G, 5G network, then same thing. It's going to be network secure, automatically applying that policy. Next, please. Okay, so now let's talk about network secure. Network secure, as we see it, is our premium network filtering solution. It's suitable for mobile and fixed, including FWA networks for the SMB. And here, let me start from the core services that all of our modules are going to offer, which are threat protection and content filtering. Okay, so these are going to be common. These are going to be, let me say, unified in the configuration. So threat protection, what does it mean? It means protection against all types of malware like ransomware, botnets, Trojans, and and essentially anything that can cause harm to the device, as well as phishing, okay, which is also quite common and quite dangerous, in fact, right? If the employee is entering credit card details of the business, it can be an issue. And in general, content filtering is not just about productivity, that as well, but content filtering can provide a number of things. So first of all, visibility. So maybe as an SMB owner, I don't want to start blocking people from doing things, but I want to understand what they are doing, right? And maybe I realize that everything is fine and I don't have to block any content. That will be unusual. But what will normally happen is that he will realize, for example, that the employees are spending too much time on sports websites, just as an example. So using that information, I can go and block sports. Another example, and here we are talking about productivity, there is also an issue here in terms of putting the business at risk. Like there are quite dangerous and problematic categories, like, let me say, violent content, like drugs, like child pornography, like these things. When the employee is going online, it's going online with the public IP address of the business. So if the legal authorities are monitoring that traffic, and quite often they are going to see the public IP of the business, and it's going to put the business at risk. So as an SMB owner, I want to prevent that situation in the first place, and I want to block all of this problematic content that is going to put my business at risk. Okay. So let's continue. On top of that, what is network secure bringing to the table? So it's protection from the network. Okay, very high penetration. All right, due to its position in the network. It's also providing robust filtering, and what I mean by this is that it cannot be easily bypassed like other solutions out there. All right, it's device agnostic. Okay, and this is quite interesting because it's not an issue if, for example, the SMB is buying a third-party router, or if they have whatever device that they have, as long as this device is connecting to the internet, network secure can protect it. It provides the network firewall capabilities. So this is a very nice and interesting service for those SMBs that want to have an extra layer of visibility and control of their network. Okay, but it's made simple for basically every SMB business to consume it. An antivirus, allowing you to have antivirus capabilities as an additional layer of protection for every device, okay, even for those where you cannot install antivirus, because the antivirus is delivered from the network, is applicable to any device. And user engagement, okay, also quite important. There are solutions out there that can provide, very detailed functionalities in terms of capabilities and things that they can do. But at the end of the day, the point here is that you as an operator, you are offering something that your users are valuing. Okay, so you can be doing great things, but if the subscriber is not perceiving that value, then you are not achieving your task. With user engagement, you are promoting the service. You are allowing the user to be notified, for example, when a threat is blocked. You can send reports. You can, with a user interface, yeah, right, that is built for the mass market for thousands and millions of subscribers. They can log in, they can see what is happening just for them. They can make changes. This is all part of it. Next, please. And then in terms of market differentiation, so what is making network secure really different? Okay, so to start with, unlike other network solutions, it's not only filtering domains, it's also filtering URLs and IP addresses. And specifically on the threat protection service, it's quite important to also block IP addresses, because we are seeing that threats out there are totally bypassing domain-based filtering. They are just communicating using IP addresses, and this is quite important for the security of the business. Firewall functionality for the SMB mass market, as I said before. Okay, so it's made for the SMB mass market. So it's really firewall functionality as simple as you can get it. Embedded antivirus, right, to provide that additional layer of protection. Core filtering not affected by DOH and DNS bypass. Okay, so DOH is DNS over HTTPS. works for mobile consumers too. So for that operator that also wants to offer the service for mobile consumers, they can essentially use the same platform to do that. And affordable to any business, critical, okay? Because here we are talking about very small businesses. Sometimes, you know, 1 employee, 2 employees, 3 employees, they just starting, they don't have a lot of money. They cannot afford to pay thousands of dollars for a firewall, okay? So this solution is allowing those small businesses to be protected while allowing the operator to make money out of it. Next, please. And over to you, Antje.
Thank you, Eduardo. Hello to everyone, and thanks for joining this webinar. I'll jump right into Business Secure, our additional offering for SMBs in order to secure them from threats. So as Eduardo pointed out, Business Secure is basically our router-based solution, where we integrate a lightweight agent into the router. And this agent is then enforcing the security policy and also the content filtering policy. As Eduardo said, all of our products have threat protection and content filtering available. And as Vikram said, we see a tendency of increased ransomware attacks on small businesses. So with Business Secure, as well as with Network Secure, you can actually protect the SMBs from ransomware and also from other malware like botnets. You can also have the ability to protect them from phishing attacks. And in addition to this layer of external network protection, Business Secure also offers internal network security. And here we have a bunch of features. So actually we talk about IoT protection, okay, which is unique to Business Secure. So we can detect abnormal IoT communication, meaning, for example, if a smart printer in a small business initiates suddenly a communication channel to another device in the network, that would be highly suspicious, and we have the ability to block this communication. And in this way also to stop lateral movement, to stop the infection of the internal business network. And we also have as Business Secure the ability to detect all kinds of device vulnerabilities in terms of weak passwords. So we can actually check Telnet SSH passwords if they still use default passwords. If that is the case, we can alert the SMB owner and recommend them to change the passwords. We have an ability to see if they installed an additional layer, an additional antivirus application on their devices. If they didn't do so, we also can recommend that. Also, in terms of internal network protection, we detect brute force attacks, meaning that one of the devices within the network probably was already infected and is starting massive login attempts on other devices in order to spread the infection on the business network. So we have the ability to see that, to detect that, and to inform the SMB owner that a brute force attack is going on, and they can take means to stop it. Also, in terms of port scans, sweep scans, we have the ability to detect devices running scans on other network devices, and we can again notify the SMB owner of those attacks so they can take steps to stop it. We check port configurations. We can alert, notify the SMB owners when we see manual port configurations, PNP port configurations. Then they can make sure that they set it up. If they didn't set it up, they should change the settings. So they're going to be protected from that perspective as well. And we can also block shell access. So there are a bunch of features which are offered by Business Secure in order to protect the network from inside. And in addition to the external and the internal layer, we also provide router hardening features, meaning that we are capable of protecting the router from being attacked. In this perspective, we have three major features. One is called the destination allowed list. In this case, let's say a router really doesn't need to speak to many other servers on the internet. So you can actually, or the CSP can define a list of allowed destinations, meaning you put there a bunch of auto configuration servers, DNS servers, NTP servers, and whenever the router is trying to communicate with other servers, then we can block this communication, and making sure this way that the router is not going to be attacked. Also, we have all kinds of DNS tampering protection, and in this case, the CSP can define a safe list of DNS servers. And in case the router is trying to approach a DNS server that is not within this list, then we would redirect this communication to one of the safe DNS servers. And finally, we also, but last but not least, we have a weak Wi-Fi password identification. If we see that the Wi-Fi password of the SMB is weak, we notify the SMB owner to set up a better password, and we give recommendations what a strong password should look like. Okay, so we actually speak, when it comes to business secure, we speak of a multi-layer robust security protection, external, internal protection, router hardening, and on top of all of that, we also give insight into the devices that are connected to the business network, including guest devices that come into the network, and we also give statistics and traffic reports. So actually the SMB owner can see who of the employees are causing or using or generating a high volume of traffic. Depending on what profiles or users the SMB owner set up, we can check if specific departments are causing high values, if specific users are causing high values. They can see who is getting blocked most frequently. So they have all kinds of tools to understand what's going on in the network, and they can see all the devices that are connected to the router. Okay, Michael, next one, please. So what makes us different from other solutions that are out there in the market, from other router solutions that provide the security measures? So in our case, when we talk about business secure, so this solution is tailor-made for very small businesses. Okay, so we see from the service that we run, from the statistics that we analyze, that 80% of the SMBs are micro businesses, and our solution is tailor-made for specifically those businesses. And not saying that it doesn't fit also medium-sized businesses of up to 50 employees, but the focus is on micro businesses, because those businesses, as we said previously, don't have any IT skills, have a very low budget, and this is where business secure actually comes in. The same as network secure. Business secure is zero touch. So all the SMB owner needs to do is actually saying they want to be secured, and the service will be activated, and all the devices connected to the business network will instantly be protected. And it is, and we saw that pricing is a very important component here. Business secure can be offered for an affordable price within these expectations that we saw from the surveys. So it fits small businesses, medium-sized businesses, also in terms of pricing. And as you saw on the previous slide, we have a very comprehensive feature set. We're not only offering external protection, which most solutions do, we also offer a lot of features related to internal network protection, and we also do router hardening. Okay, so that's business secure. We also provide, and here we come back to the slide that Eduardo presented concerning the 360 protection. We have network secure, we have business secure, but what about employees that leave the office, that go to a coffee shop to work, or go to a work hub with a public Wi-Fi? So they need to be protected as well. And in this case, we offer endpoint secure. Okay, when we talk about endpoint secure, we talk about an application that needs to be installed on the device. So this is not zero touch, but it is the option that you have in order to protect 360, even when the employees leave the office or are away from the CSP network. For endpoint secure, we have a partnership with Gene, still known very well as Norton. The value that we give in this case is that we speak about a unified subscription. So CSPs can offer all of our products under one account. And that is also very convenient for the SMB. So they don't have to deal with different accounts, with different payments. So they get the whole service, the 360 protection under one account, and they will be protected on the network. They will be protected from the router, and they can be protected even when being off the network. Now, in terms of endpoint secure, what makes it different from other solutions when we talk about Norton? And Michael, please switch to the next one. Thank you. When we talk about Norton, I guess I don't need to say much. I mean, Norton is a well-known global brand with millions of end users. It allows us to protect the SMB at any time, any place, wherever they are. Norton has many different services that can be offered on top of the security. They also have dark web monitoring. They also have password management. So there are a lot of interesting services that can be offered to the SMB on top of the zero-touch network-based solution. And they also have a specific product for SMBs, which makes it very easy for the employees to onboard. It's cloud-based service. It has a very easy management console for the device management. So it's very convenient to work with the Norton dashboard. It has a very rich feature set in terms of security, device security, and also in terms of additional services. And as we said, for example, network secure and business secure, we are capable of identifying if the endpoint devices have an antivirus on it. And if we see that they don't have it, then we can actually promote endpoint secure to the subscribers, and this gives CSPs an additional upsell opportunity, because you can bundle those services. You can have a premium package including endpoint secure, which can be offered in case you see that some of the devices from the SMB don't have an antivirus installed yet. So that's more or less what makes our endpoint secure solution with Norton very different from other solutions. And again, when you look at the whole package, network secure, business secure, and endpoint secure, you have a 360 protection for the SMBs, no matter where they are, no matter what devices they are using. And this puts you as a CSP in a very good position to offer security to them and to make a very good revenue out of those security services. Thank you.
Okay, so thank you, Anje, and thank you, Eduardo, and also Vikram for your perspective on North America. We have here kind of a summary of the solution, the 360, that Eduardo will walk us through. So over to you.
Thank you, Michael. Yes, let's talk about the unique value. We talked about many different things, but this is to just sum up what are really the key points to remember. So the first one, Michael.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
There are no IT skills required, and the solution is built in such a way that we are not expecting the SMB to have an IT engineer, an IT admin guy to configure it. So it's built so that anyone, really anyone, use it and consume it. Next. There is no IT infrastructure or equipment required. With some of the solutions out there, they are requiring the SMB to have things like an Active Directory environment, like open imports, like granting permissions, like things that regular people don't really know how to do. There is no such thing as like that for us. So the solution is deployed from the network, and there are no requirements whatsoever to be had on-premise to consume them. Next. It's also defined and built to be set and forget. Okay, so for those SMBs that just want to be protected against threats, really all they need to do is to sign up to the service. The operator will provision the service for them, will provision it with security activated, and that's it. If they don't even want to log into the GUI, that's fine, but they are protected. However, for those that want to go a step further and maybe, potentially monitor some categories being accessed or block some or take a look at the reports, that's also available, of course. There are also no additional providers. Okay, this is, I think, quite an important point. These are very small businesses. They don't really have the time to go and look for a security provider or a provider that is giving them the security solutions that they need. If you have, just a common sense, right? If I have my operator, as we were saying before, providing me with internet access, just makes sense that this same operator is providing me with a clean internet access. Next. And then as you saw before, you can essentially choose how far you want to go with the offering as an operator. So you can go from the zero touch approach of network secure from the network, basically device agnostic. You are covering every device. You just say yes and forget about it as a subscriber. You can go a step further and go with business secure. Of course, that requires integration with the router. Okay, so it requires the SMB to have the router of the CSP. But with that, you are gaining local network visibility and protection. And then if you go another step further, you can even have the endpoint secure solution to protect the employees' devices when they are connecting from other locations. Next, please. And SaaS model, okay, this is quite important. So these days, people don't really have, especially small businesses, they don't have CapEx, they don't have money sitting there for them to spend it on solutions. They don't even have a budget for security, right? Let's be realistic. They don't even have an allocated budget. They just, if they need to spend, they spend. So it's quite important for them that whatever solution they are buying, the solution should be flexible also from a pricing perspective, that they can sign up and cancel whenever they like, basically. Next, robust security and content filtering. So everything I said before, if you're providing a solution that covers all that, still is not a good solution if it's not doing the job right. Okay, so we take this very seriously. We provide a solution, one that cannot be easily bypassed, one that is really doing the job. And honestly, we feel proud of it. So it's robust security and content filtering. Okay. Next, and affordable to any business. All right. So to any business, really. Okay. So it's not like you need hundreds of thousands of dollars. You can provide a solution as an operator within the expected price range, as we saw before, and still make a lot of money out of it. And last but not least, because this is something that as an operator, you might want to benefit from the existing expertise that we have, because we have been doing this for a long time. You're also getting this bulletproof go-to-market guidance from our marketing experts, so that they can help you not only to launch the service, but also even after launch, make sure that you are successful with the service, because we have done this many times. We have regional experts on this that again can help you to make a success out of it.
Okay, thank you, Eduardo. So if I could summarize what we've tried to paint for you, the picture today, there's a market need out there. SMBs are targeted and they're aware of it, and they're overwhelmed. They don't know what to do. They would love for the CSP, ISPs to solve the problem for them, and they value it. They would spend money on it, Not huge sums, but again, I've said this several times, if you multiply it out by the number of customers you have, it becomes a significant revenue uplift, and it keeps your customers happy, and it attracts new customers, and it prevents existing customers from looking for security elsewhere. So there's a huge opportunity out there for you, the CSP, to be the champion for your SMB customers. And we have a solution, right, at Allot. It's the most field-proven, network-based cybersecurity solution in the market. It's got that very unique 360 approach that Eduardo and Antje talked about. So your customers are covered wherever they go, whatever they're doing. There are various options, various modules, various features. So it can be, sold gradually, and you can add incremental modules and features. It's a win-win, and we're here to help you. We've got this go-to-market team that's experienced, as Eduardo said, helping CSPs push this solution out to the customer. And so we're there. We're happy to help you with it. We've got really just a few minutes to look at some of the questions that were asked, and opportunity to add questions in the Q&A window. So Eduardo, you want to start, and we'll see where we go.
Yeah, let me take a look. Okay, so I see one here. With these solutions, it is possible to deploy some block domains, like domains that may be responding for command and controls. So the beauty of it is that you, as an operator, you don't have to worry about feeding the solution with domains to be blocked. The solution is already updating automatically from Allot central servers with all of this information. So again, there is nothing for you to do. The solution will automatically download, and in fact, numerous times a day, updates from our central servers that is basically telling every deployment what are the latest domains, URLs, and IP addresses to be blocked for security reasons. Okay, so this is done multiple times a day. Once the solution gets this information, it distributes it to the filters in the case of network secure, to the routers in the case of business secure. And in a nutshell, it's transparently and automatically protecting your subscribers. Okay, so there is nothing for you to do on that.
Okay, Antje, do you want to take the home office question? You're on mute, Antje.
Thanks for, yeah, is it suitable for home offices too? So when it comes to consumers, we have a product which is called Home Secure. It has a very similar feature set to Business Secure, but we speak of parental control. Okay, so we have a few more features there. You can set the quiet time, you can set bedtime, dinner time for your family. So yes, in short, because we're short of time, there is a solution also for consumers and for the home environment as well.
And if the home environment is more of a home office, so then it's back to the Business Secure option. There's another question here about DDoS protection embedded. So we have DDoS protection solutions. They're not part of this because the DDoS is more about protecting the service provider's network, and then anyone connected to the service provider would benefit from that. But we don't have a SMB DDoS solution as part of this solution.
And if I may, Michael, there is a reason for that. So DDoS, when it comes to protecting businesses, is more relevant for bigger businesses, for enterprises, because those are the ones that are hosting internet-facing servers and that are going to be attacked normally by DDoS. This is not so normal for small businesses. That's why we don't have such a service.
Okay, and so I see that we are at the top of the hour and out of time. So we will get back to you with the questions that we did not have time to answer. Thank you all for listening, for joining us. And as I said, we will send you a link to the webinar. We will send you the analyst paper from Tag Cyber. And please feel free to visit the website to find out more about our solutions, to ask questions, to request a conversation with a sales manager. We look forward to seeing you at subsequent webinars. So everybody stay safe out there, have a good summer, and we'll be meeting up again soon, I hope. Thank you all. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.